Hey guys, this is Spencer Bowen with Murphy Door. Today we're going to do an unboxing of this. It's the Murphy Door Quick Kit. We're all going to show you this assembly and the installation. Hey guys, just as a reminder, everything we do at Murphy Door is going to be curbside delivery, which means you're going to have to find a lovely assistant like mine to help you take it off the pallet and into the house. Just another helpful reminder, we use the tip and tell system, which means if this door is mishandled, meaning it's laying down or on its side or even on its face or back, there's going to be this blue sand stuff that gets above this line, and then you'll know, just spend a little extra time making sure that it wasn't damaged in shipping. The very first set of instructions is all about the jamb. So what we're going to do, we're going to open the box, we're going to take out just the jamb because that's really all we have to worry about for right now. The first instruction says align the jamb bottom threshold and the first jamb side on a flat surface. So that's what we're going to do. Something to remember about the DIY quick kit are these are just pre-primed. So what you'll want to do is you'll take the light sander that we have in the actual quick kit. It looks like a little foam sander. Give it a light sand and paint it whatever color you like to make it match whatever room you're putting the Murphy door into. You're going to want to go into your box and find the hardware box. It's a little blue box like this. And inside, you'll see everything you need. Doorstop. This is what we're looking for specifically with this first step. It's called the conformat screws. So we are going to line this up to where this will be a right-hand door. I'll quickly show you how we would position it if it was going to be a left-hand door, just for your reference. That's the beautiful thing about the Murphy Door Quick Kit is the hardware's unattached. So you can literally put it in whatever configuration you need, whether it's a in-swing, out-swing, left or right-hand hinge. So if this was since this is a right-hand door, this is your threshold. And you can see on the sides where the holes need to be and where the side jambs are going to line up. Always remember that the threshold will stick in to the room. So the front jamb will be on this side. So again, the first step tells us to install the threshold. And you can look on the ends, like I said, sometimes they'll be covered up with a little bit of primer, but you'll be able to see the holes, the pre-drilled holes of where that's supposed to be. So since this is going to be a right-hand hinge, and you gotta remember the jamb's gonna be sticking into the next room, we want these holes on the right-hand side. If we want it to be a left-hand door, which means the hinges are on the left-hand side, we would have this flipped over. And you can kind of picture if we were to stand this up and slide this to where this is sticking into the next room, that's where it would need to be positioned for the left-hand hinge. But again, for today, we're gonna do right-hand. Make sure those holes line up, and we're gonna grab the conformat screws. We're gonna quickly put this jamb together. Be sure not to go too far in or it'll strip. And you're gonna have plenty of room to shim, so just make sure they line up good and you don't go too far with your conformat screws. Once you have the first set done, everything else goes very simple. The biggest thing is just make sure your hardware holes are in the correct position. Remember, the threshold's gotta stick into the next room, and then the hardware is going to be on the right or the left. Make sure you're lined up. And next we're going to show you how to install the top jamb piece. One easy way to remember is that this bigger hole here needs to be closer to the ground rather than up. That's as long as the jamb is completely flat on the ground. One thing to remember as well, make sure that these holes are obviously on the same side as your other holes. Now we just stand the jamb up and put it in our doorway. Again, always remember the threshold will stick into the next room. We'll make sure that the door is perfectly level and plumb. We always recommend using a much longer level than this. Today, my fellow employees stole the longer level, so we'll make this work for today, but you definitely need at least a 4-foot level to be consistent. And that magically is level. So we will anchor in the top, at least right here. Just a reminder, if you're doing a right-hand outswing door, everything goes much smoother if you install the opposite side jamb directly up against the 2x4. The reason being is that trim piece will actually slide and open with the door, and it will reveal this edge. And this is obviously a lot easier to make pretty with it being right up against the 2x4. Keep in mind, shims do not come with the door. So if you do need to shim your door, you can pick these up at any local Home Depot. Go. Good. And we're good there. We might have to suck that out a little bit. Okay, the next step is to install your hardware. You'll take it out of the box and you'll see both the top set of hardware and the bottom. They're really easy to tell each other apart because the bottom will have a set of ball bearings and a piece will actually fit within itself like that. For reference, for an in-swing door, the ball bearings are going to go on the jamb. For an in-swing door, it would line up with these holes closest to the jamb. For an outswing door, which is what we're going to install, it will be right here. And you'll see where the 4 holes need to line up, and that will make sure and ensure that your hole or your pivot point is in the correct position. Okay. Again, this piece will go on the bottom of the door. So now we'll go to the top jamb piece, which will be, again, the piece with the ball bearings. For an in-swing door, just for reference, this is the one that kind of throws people off sometimes, but this piece will actually hang out past the bottom of the door, or the back of the door rather. But for an outswing, which is what we're doing today, we're going to install that right there. There we go. Okay, now we're going to install the bottom hardware on the door piece. You can always obviously tell which is the bottom by which side is closest to the fixed shelf. If this were going to be an in-swing door, this is how this piece would be installed. It would be installed right like that, overhanging the side of the door. But since this is going to be an outswing door, I'm going to install it right there. Okay. Now for the top hardware piece for the door. If this was an in-swing, you see these 4 holes here are going to line up with these 4 holes. It's going to overhang like that. But with an outswing, which is what we're doing today, be installed right there. You'll see where that big main hole there is going to actually line up with this hole. Do your best not to strip the screws like a dumbass. This next part's always easier with two people, so I'm gonna have Kenneth step in here and join me real quick. What we're gonna do is we're gonna stand it up. We're gonna slide that bottom piece into that ball bearing joint and then slide the top pin up through the hardware. Slide it in. And if you can just get down there and just kind of guide me in, I can lift up the door. It's gonna have to go that. Then you're gonna slide this. See where that goes. It's always good to double check. I don't know if we want to include this or not, but whenever I do this, I line the bottom swinging side out directly right there, just to see how close I am with that to make sure that this is flush. For this next step, we usually recommend actually reading and following the instructions, but because I am a man and I do not do that, we're gonna install this now. It's very easy to do it, even if you do skip the step. You come back here, you go 2 inches back from the face frame, and you line this up just with the bottom of the door. And it doesn't have to be perfect by any means. Okay. Next, we're going to measure out and cut the side trim. We're going to mark where we need to actually cut these boards. What I do is I give myself just a little bit of wiggle room. That way you can always fudge it up a little bit and you won't ever see it from the floor. So there's that one. Then for your outswing piece, geez. We're gonna have to pop that bottom trim piece off. This one you wanna give yourself quite a bit of extra space because you swing it out, and if your floor is anything like ours, you're gonna have to give yourself even a little bit bigger gap at the bottom. Okay, next we're gonna be installing the 2 side trim pieces. I always start with the side that is gonna be stationary with the wall, meaning it's not gonna swing out with the door. So on the hinge side, I've already cut my board, we'll line it up. Make sure that this isn't sticking too high above this point, otherwise you'll have a bigger gap. A lot of customers will forget to cut their side trim, and then you'll have a big gap at the top, and it reveals the door, kind of betrays the point of having a hidden door. So we've cut this down to where it will work perfectly. We'll match this. We usually go 1 inch to 1.5 inches overlay, and we'll get that installed. Perfect. In this next part, to install this side, we're gonna go down the back side of this trim, and we're gonna drill 5 holes. The holes are for the screws that are gonna tie the trim piece on. We want something way more secure than just regular nails. So I try and stick kind of close to the outside edge, just to make sure you have enough room to be able to drill it in straight. Definitely would recommend gluing this. What I do is because we had to cut it short to clear the floor as it opens all the way, hold it up to where it's just barely above that edge. We'll nail it to where it will hold it for us, and then we'll put the screws in. Now, we can carefully screw these back screws into that headboard, into the face frame. then close the door, make sure everything looks good. And then to install the top trim piece, literally just level it up. Try and make it as equal as possible. And after you do it with these nails, they are malleable, which is nice if you need to move your trim piece up or down. There we go. I'm gonna clean this up. We'll add the final step, the final catch on the bottom, and make sure that everything stays flush when it's closed. Just a very simple tip when you are installing the doorstop is install the pin, the black pin on that side first, 2 inches back from the face frame, and then close the door all the way. And then take this ramp and place it and mark exactly where this little hole right here in the center lines up with the pin. Then you'll know exactly where that needs to go. Okay, now we close this and make sure it closes properly. Wow, that actually does. I thought we were gonna have to adjust this. If this doesn't go in or doesn't give you as much tension as you want, you can take pliers or, I don't know what size the wrench this is, but you can take some pliers and you can adjust the tension on this pin. We send you guys plenty of shelf pins to place these shelves wherever you want. Just traditional shelf pin. All these holes. Sometimes it's a little bit of a tight fit. You might need a little mallet or something just because of the paint or the primer that's in there. Definitely make the door your own. And there you go. Thank you so much and congratulations on your Murphy door.